Patricia, Philadelphia artist, and it's all yours. Go ahead.
All right. Hi. Thank you for inviting me to have this show, Pam. I feel really great about it because this is the first time I've had this much of this newer work up. So it's really good for me to see it this way and to kind of analyze it and see if it's working. And so it's really a great opportunity, and I really appreciate being able to talk to students too, because you always inform me of things. I have been a professional artist since I have thought of myself as a professional artist since I was 17. I went to art school right out of high school. I went to a boarding school in Maryland, and I didn't want to do anything else. I just wanted to be a painter, and I went to the Academy of Fine Arts, and then left there. I got married, had a family, went back again to the Academy when I was 27, and continued there for another 2 years. And then when I graduated, I started showing at a little gallery in Philadelphia. I can't remember the name of it. It's on my resume somewhere. And was showing there for about 15 years. And then I went to a talk. At that point, there was an organization called Creative Artists Network, and it's now called the Center for Visual Emerging Artists. And it's a very wonderful place, and it's especially a great place for young artists. So those of you, listen up, because it's a great place for opportunities. What was I saying? Anyway, at that time, I heard a speaker, Ann Raymond, speaking there about a nonprofit gallery called the Nexus Gallery, which was the oldest nonprofit gallery in the city. And so I realized, oh, I can apply there. So I applied, and I got in, and I kept my affiliation with the commercial gallery and became a member of this artist-run gallery. And the wonderful thing about that was that I learned how to hang my own show. I learned how to make work that wasn't for sale. Because when I was at the commercial gallery, I always felt this pressure that I had to sell. And I did still life, I did cityscapes. They never were quite, perfect in any way, but they were pleasing and people bought them. But all of a sudden, I had this opportunity to show in this beautiful place, because Nexus was on 2nd Street at that time. And, it was the beginning of the gallery scene down on 2nd Street. So I had many shows there and grew as an artist quite a bit, and realized I could just explore wherever I wanted to go. And of course I wasn't selling. So at that time I also got affiliated with the Philadelphia Mural Arts Program. And at that time, I guess it was around 1990, Jane Golden was a member of the Creative Artists Network, and so I went to those openings and I met her, and I said, gosh, anytime you need me, I will work on a mural for free, because I want to learn how to do that. And I want to work large. Little did I know. But so about a year later, I was asked to paint a mural on 32nd and Spring Garden Street. And that was the beginning of my history with mural arts programs. So I worked for them for 12 years. I did 10 murals for the mural arts program. And it was a very interesting experience, because I had discovered that I am one of those artists who's always changing. My work is always changing. I do, in 10 years I won't be doing the same thing. And it's very hard, because you don't you're not able to brand yourself, and that's very in now. But this is who I am, and this is what I do. So I knew I wasn't a cutting edge artist. At that time, I just did what I did, and the murals helped me to learn a whole lot about being out there in the world and being out there in the community. And at the same time that I started with them, I guess it was around 1986, I started teaching children art at Germantown Friends School, which is where my kids had gone. And my son was a senior there. And so I stayed there for 6 years and painted murals, and then I discovered that I really wanted to paint murals. I didn't want to be teaching. I wanted to put more into my teaching, but then I wouldn't be able to paint the murals. So, and I was making a pretty good, fair amount of money. If you go on the Mural Arts website, you'll see some of my murals. And one of them, which has to be restored now, took me 6 months to paint. And I made a whopping $3,500 in 6 months of painting, sometimes 6 days a week. And but it was such an amazing high to paint outside, and I didn't need the money at that time. And so the experience of painting those murals really changed me as an artist. I started to have shows at Nexus where my work was 14 feet long because I thought, why? Well, if I'm doing it outside, why not do it for a solo show? And then I very luckily got a show at the Fleischer Art Memorial, and that's another great place to, as artists, to apply. It's a very, I think I had applied for 7 years straight, then took a break and then applied and got a show. They give you a lot of press, and it was a wonderful affirmation for me. And then I got an Independence Foundation fellowship, and I'll step back. A lot of times I've been going to this artist residency for 4 to 5 weeks. I think this year was the 5th time I'd gone down there. And that's a community where you can paint without, they bring you your meals. I mean, it's really a great place. And and you're introduced to artists from all over the world there, which it's a very supportive, wonderful atmosphere. And as you know, as artists, it's very hard to sometimes fit into the way the rest of the world operates. And so it's very good to check in every once in a while and have that support system. So I got an Independence Foundation fellowship, and I was still in Nexus, and I was able to create an entire installation in one of the gallery spaces. And it was my first time ever doing an installation, and I did a video with help from friends and from Jack, and made a piece that is was very much a culmination of the work I had been doing as paintings and drawings. And it kind of, the whole point of it was to envelop you in my world. And I made I made vines, which I was drawing then out of wire and handmade paper and gauze, and had them suspended from the ceiling, and then had the video and the slide projections of my family and of my life going onto those. And it was all very dark in there. Jack had to build a wall for me. So anyway, that was also a really wonderful opportunity for me to grow and move on. And at that time also I started to realize I had just gone through a divorce,